I had my scan Monday.
Okay.
I was in Dallas for a week for a convention and decided to, since I knew I was going to be in Dallas, it's like, well, why not? Let's get some good information. Let's see what I can find out about myself.
Okay, that's really
Kayla
super
has the same
interesting.
thing.
Sorry.
That's funny
Right?
because I got mine on Tuesday because I was in Dallas.
What time? Where, Kayla? Where'd you get it? And what time?
I got it at the storefront.
So that's where I went. But ironically, my friends heard me talking about it. I took them Tuesday morning. What time did you go?
I went in the afternoon.
We missed each other. I was there Tuesday morning. I took them back Tuesday morning.
Can you imagine if you guys would have ran into each other in a different state at the DEXA Scan Center?
And I would have been like, she looks really, really familiar.
Right. It would have been so freaking funny. Oh my gosh. So crazy. Where are you from, Shannon?
Atlanta, Metro Atlanta.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
I wish you guys would have known that you guys were going. You guys could have met each other.
Exactly. I did not know.
If anybody's thinking about getting a DEXA scan out of state, you need to let us know so we can put it out there so you can have your own little GLP DEXA meetup.
Exactly that.
Absolutely.
A new rule. There's a new rule about the DEXA scans.
Yeah, if you're planning to get a DEXA scan, use a link, but also let us know so we can connect people.
Damn, Kate is out of the country. I can't even yell at her right now.
Absolutely love it.
So how was your experience at the DEXA Center? Was it what you were expecting? Everything you expected? Well, tell us.
Who wants to go? Kayla, do you want to go first?
Yeah, it's fine. I was really nervous, but I was prepared. And Candace told me before I went, she was like, don't be nervous. Like, they're really nice. And, if they look at you weird, just tell them I already lost 100 pounds. So, but no, it was really nice, really comfortable. The guy talked to me the whole time. And when I got the results, I was just really happy. I had made my expectations a little bit, more unrealistic in like a negative way, I guess, to like mentally prepare myself for what was the actual results. So yeah, it was a really good experience.
Yay for a good experience.
Yeah.
So how long did it take for your actual scan? How long did it for the actual scan?
10 minutes maybe or less. It was very short. Really fast. My mom was waiting in the waiting room and she was like, wow, that was fast. It's over already. And I was like, yeah, it's done. So
like you wait longer at drive-thrus now, I feel like, than you do to get your DEXA scan.
Right.
Like, yeah, so if anybody's going to McDonald's, just stop by, get your DEXA scan first, and then go to McDonald's. And it'll be about the same amount of time. Just test out the theory. How was your experience, Shannon?
Same. Young man was really, really nice. He actually did some video footage for me. I just have not been still long enough to edit and put it together. I plan to do that. I was maybe like 7 minutes. The hardest part was just laying still. But I wasn't nervous. I was more anxious about the results so that, knowing like, let's see what it's going to tell me. But yeah, I was super excited. I'm like super glad I did it. But great experience. Those people are so nice. I wish they had one in Atlanta.
How long did it take you to get your results? It took probably a couple hours before I got an email notification. But my friends on Tuesday, before they walked out of the office, they had theirs in their dashboard.
So that's great.
Yeah, mine was.
How long did it take you to get your results?
20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Like, it really was not long at all. Oh, and another thing was, they had a display of the 5 pounds of fat and the 5 pounds of muscle, and I had never physically seen that in real life. So that was kind of cool to feel it, you know, to like feel the weight of both, and then to see them in different forms too. So I thought that it was cool that they had a lot of stuff kind of, you know, like that out. I mean, it wasn't a lot, but you know, it was stuff.
So I know for Body Spec, they give you information via email before you come. Did anybody actually read the information that they sent?
Yes.
Of course I did.
Okay, so I find it interesting, the two things that they send, right? The two most common things they send. I find it interesting, like the what to wear part of it. Like, did y'all follow those suggestions? And they send information about water consumption. Did you follow that too? I'm just curious.
Well, I took my scan like basically first thing in the morning, like it was right before 9. And so I hadn't had a lot of water. And I've had many, many years ago, because of a thyroid issue, I had a bone density scan. So I knew about the no metal, like no genes, things like that. So I knew about that.
And I had thought that I wasn't going to go on Tuesday because I thought the reason that I was there, I thought the schedules were not going to match up, because I had planned to go in the morning, and then when I saw that I didn't know if I was going to make an afternoon one, I did read the thing about not eating anything, but we ended up going somewhere for breakfast around like 11, and I had an omelet, and I had like a couple other things, and I wasn't really like thinking that it would have too much of a negative impact on it. So I just was like, whatever, and I still went anyway. I wasn't too worried about, you know, having ate something, but it would be interesting to know what if it would have been different at all if I had not eaten something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I don't think the idea is to like completely fast before you do it, because they do it throughout the day, right? But I think I think the main concern is not to overdo water before, because water is what can, you know, fill up muscle, and it can fill up fat, right? And so I think that's the most concern. So I think you eating is fine. But one thing that they do recommend from what the reading is to try to be consistent for your next scan in terms of consumption. So it has a baseline that it continues to track, right? So if you did like 40 ounces of water before you went in, do 40 ounces of water the other time, right? Just kind of keep that balance. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good information.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I'm excited about the results. Before we go into the results, okay, I am curious about this moment. You get the email saying, "Hey, your results are ready." What do you do first, and what are you feeling first? Like when you get that email, do you like click first, or do you hold off? Like, are you feeling anxious, excited, nervous? What's that moment like?
You want to go first?
It doesn't matter. We can take turns, or you can go, whatever.
So, would y'all believe I didn't read my email until probably 9 or 10 o'clock that night?
No, why?
I was in Dallas at a conference, so like after that, I was on the move all day. So I didn't have a chance to and I really wanted to sit. I didn't know what to expect and understand it, so I had to wait until we got home the hotel that night. And so by the time I got to the hotel, got settled, it was probably like 9:30 before I could finally click it and be like, okay, let me figure this out and get to the report and everything. So yeah, I didn't get to it right away.
Oh my God, that would have been telltale hearting me the whole day.
I didn't be able to get out of my mind.
I was so busy, literally. Now, my friends, on the other hand, on that Tuesday, listen, they were all over it. They were all over it. Before we could walk out, oh my God. Yeah, my friends were all over
it. How long did you wait, Kayla?
So as soon as I opened my email and I saw it there, I opened it, and the first thing I looked for was how many pounds of muscle. That was that was the first thing that I wanted to see.
Wait, before you get to that number, I am curious. Did we Pay attention to that message up top.
The don't jump message at the top.
Right,
It's
like,
gonna be fine.
stop. This is
A
okay.
big red stop sign.
For
you actually
anybody that
stop?
wants to see it, it looks like this.
Yeah, my mom was in the car with me, and I was like, I kind of giggled and I said, "Mom, it says stop. Don't let this blah blah." Like, she was more worried about me getting my results than I was, because I think she thought like I was gonna like get upset and like put a damper on the day, and I just kept having to tell her like, no, like I'm really prepared, like I'm really excited, like, you know, all that.
So you were excited to go straight to the muscle number. I get that. But there's something else that pops into my mind besides the stop sign. The first thing that I saw was that glorious, beautiful, beautiful picture. Did that picture not jump out to you?
Yeah, I was like, whoa. But then I was like, whatever.
Shannon, when you saw the picture, initial thoughts, feelings?
So I technically saw my picture before I walked out of the office. I have a picture.
How did you do that? At the computer?
I have a picture of me over the guy's shoulder. Let me see if I can find it. I said, "Oh, let me get that."
I love it.
I did kind of like peek, and I saw kind of what he was looking at. And I was like, oh, wow, he really can see me. Like, oh. And then, you know, and then I was just like, whatever.
So I saw that, but I didn't have my reading glasses on, so I couldn't see what any of it meant. I just saw the computer screen, and I said, "Is that me?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Let me get a picture." And then I think I got like 2 seconds of video.
I love it. You went straight to content creation mode, and that's beautiful.
Oh, listen, I got out the car I was like, yeah, I had a video idea. I just have not had a chance to sit and do it, but absolutely.
Oh, please at Body Spec when you post it.
I sure will. Everything is content. Everything is content.
That would be awesome.
So I know, Kayla, you said that the first number you beeline to was that lean muscle mass, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Shannon, did you have a number that you beeline to, or was there
the fat number? The fat number. How much of me is fat?
You went for the muscle.
Fat number.
Okay.
I can't stop the fat.
Yeah, and I think the reason that I wanted to look at the muscle first was because I saw your reaction, Jay, about how that affected you. And so that's just what I was like hyper focusing on. You know, it was just almost like a relieving number, you know, like from the way that you explained how you experienced it. And I think that that's why I was so like excited to see that number first.
When you looked at the number, did you have a preconceived number of the percentage of fat that was on your body going into the scan? I know that Kayla, you said that you had made like everything in the doomsday preparation, but Shannon, did you have like a preconceived number that you thought of when you were going in there?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I kind of a little different from Kayla based on kind of how Jay talked about his experience. I wanted the scan for the experience, for the information it would give me to help me inform my journey, like how to fix, shape, remold my journey. Like it really changed Jay's journey. So I was like, I need this information. This is data that is going to help me because I still don't have a goal weight. And I'm not sure. Well, I know now what I need to do, but a week ago, I wasn't sure if I was doing all of the right things, especially in terms of how I moved my body. And so I looked at the scan as a way for me to get some information to make some better decisions for my health and for my journey. And now I have a better understanding, much to my chagrin, about what I need to do.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm freaking out because I'm so excited to hear like the different perspectives of the way you both walked into it, right? So if I'm understanding this correctly, Kayla, you walked in, you were like, I'm looking for a sense of relief. And Shannon, you walked in, you said, I'm looking for a sense of focus. And I guess before we go into the specifics of the numbers, because we're gonna get there, I just want to know, did you get what you were looking for from the scan?
Oh,
Yes, and I want to say that, I think I feel more motivated than I have in the last probably 4 months. Like, it's making me want to reach my goal even more than I ever thought like I would feel, because I've been feeling kind of like I'm about to reach like a specific milestone anyway in my journey, and I'm like, that's not even the milestone that I want to reach. You know what I mean? Like, I still have 2/3 of my journey to go. You know what I mean? So it's just like it kind of just like reignited me, and I think it's going to push me in a direction that I really need to start focusing on going in. Kind of like Shannon said, for her. You know what I mean? So yeah, and I know we're going to talk about a lot of other stuff, but I really am going to be excited to see more people get these if they can and they have access to it.
Oh
I think
yeah.
that's one of the most important things. I wish I would have known about them day one.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have that initial data day one to know where I truly started from. Because have any of you looked at your data and compared it to what either your SMART scale said or your TDM calculator online?
Oh yeah.
Okay. And anything wildly different?
Yeah. Like everything.
Ooh, everything.
Like,
Okay.
Please.
I think we're gonna start talking numbers. Okay. So if we're gonna start talking numbers, okay, let's talk some numbers. So what was the percent that they gave you for body fat on the scale versus body fat on DEXA scan, if you're comfortable with sharing?
Yeah, Shannon, do you know that for you?
I do, because I, of course, weighed myself this morning. I was away from the scale for a whole week.
You know I believe in a travel scale, Shannon. You know
I
I
know. Listen, don't think I didn't think about it. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna travel with the scale. I'm gonna be okay, because I'm somebody who weighs every day. So I literally thought this, and the DEXA scan proved it. Half of me is fat. Half of me. My body fat percentage is 53.1%. So that was not super surprising to me, because I have menopausal belly. I'm very hippie. So I've got one of those classic shapes that they talk about that has like a ton of risks associated with it. My scale says that I have 48.8% body fat.
It's a 4% difference.
Yeah, so not a whole lot of difference.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have, are we just talking fat, or y'all want the others?
Let's just talk fat for a second. I know you're talking your shape, right? And how you know that there are some classic signs based on your body shape, or according to some of the science, right? And you were expecting that fat number. What about your visceral fat number for that fat around your organs? Were you surprised about that number? Was it where you wanted to be? That number, what are your thoughts on that number you saw?
So my visceral fat, where'd it go? I thought it was going to be a bit more. It wasn't as much as I thought it would be. But it's still, it's still a high number. It's 2.41 pounds of visceral fat.
But that's very manageable.
Not that bad.
Body scan says there's an opportunity. I like how they frame that. There's opportunities for
You have
you.
an opportunity to change your life, man.
So but again, so like I was telling Jay, I'm struggling with framework. So you guys are like, oh, that's not so bad. And I'm just like, yeah, like 2 pounds of just squishy fat in between my organs. I need to reduce this.
When we get done with that, I'll tell you what's possible because the first number that I had was 2.44. And when we get closer to the end, I'll share what's possible in just 2 months.
Okay.
All right, Kayla.
Okay, I find it interesting her results, and it's kind of giving me a different picture of like because of what my scale said. So mine is 59.6% body fat,
Okay.
and
According to the scan or the scale?
this is the scan.
Okay.
The scale says 80%.
Okay.
And listen, I think that it's because, the scale is taking like some kind of weird like average, and I think it's because of the number of my weight itself, if that makes sense, because it's a higher weight. So the scale is like thinking that I'm just all fat because they're taking the average of bone and muscle for people, instead of like knowing what it really actually is. So like I was prepared to go in there and like it to say like I was 88% fat or something, like on the DEXA scan.
Yeah. That's a huge difference though.
Difference.
Yeah, like that's what I mean. Like it was like a
methodology is obviously different, right? It's the methodology of the scale versus the scan. So the way the scale works is it shoots like tiny electromagnetic pulses up, right? And even if you're going to do electromagnetic pulses, which is a semi-valid way, because there's lots of errors in that, right? The way the scale does it is just does it through the bottom of your feet. They recommend that you also have handles if you're going to do electromagnetic pulses to get a more accurate reading. And most of our scales don't have that, right? And so
that would be more like an in-body scan, which are available across the entire country if you don't have access to DEXA.
Mm-hmm. And it's a valid method. It is, but the scales I don't think they have the ability to be as accurate because they don't have handles, most of them, right? And the ones that do have handles are like $200-$300 or something. It's pretty wild. Like, and if I'm paying that much, I'm going to just pay for a scan for $150-$200 in places. Like that's what I would do. But going back to you, Kayla, that number. You were expecting 80-something%, but it's only 59%, right?
Right.
So that feeling, how's that feel?
Oh yeah, like I was like, okay, yeah, that makes a lot. It made a lot of sense in my mind. Like, the 80% like didn't make any sense in my mind. And I actually only have used because I got an E-Tech City one, just as a sample, and that I was excited so I could see that extra data, and I stopped using it. I only used it twice because I felt like it wasn't saying anything that, was, it's like something in my mind already knew it wasn't accurate in a way, if that makes sense. For me, that's how it felt, at least.
Because 80% is just a wild number.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you better have something to back that up.
It makes me sad thinking about how many other people are relying on the data of their smart scales and, thinking that their $19.95 smart scale or their $20 smart scale is giving them real data and they're operating off of that. Because were you operating your metabolic rate and everything off of your smart scale that you had at home?
No, because I just used it twice. So like I just went back to plus it was saying that I weighed more than my other scale too. So I went back to
link in her TikTok shop.
Yeah, right.
So wait.
Link in my bio.
So this scale said that you had absurdly high body fat and it got your weight wrong? Yeah.
I was just like, okay, I'm just not using this. And I was so excited, But anyway, and my visceral fat was 5.39 pounds.
Okay.
So
I guess it said opportunities for you as well.
Yeah. for sure. And that's, I guess I'm going to, it just says it should be as low as possible. If you can get it to 0, get it to 0.
Right.
For most of us, we will never get it to 0, which is fine. But, getting it lowered is always a good thing because that visceral fat, Candace, can you explain a little bit more about how it impacts our health?
Oh, so it's the really hard compact fat that surrounds your organs. So when they refer to fatty liver disease, that part of fatty liver disease is that hard compacted fat that surrounds all of your tissues, could lead to many chronic conditions, heart disease, diabetes. You ever seen those men, the men that have the really hard, just stern bellies? And that's a good sign that there is a lot of visceral fat in there. It's just, you do want the number as low as possible. I think that is all of our goals, to get it off of there, because the amount of chronic conditions that can lessen with just say you cut the other fat. It's better to have the other fat than have the visceral fat. And if you sign up for Body Spec, if you go into your account and at the very bottom, if you can't find it on the first page, right in the bottom where it says like the contact us, you can sign up for the community and go to the Zoom call, and they can explain your numbers to you. And they have calls every single day. You can either choose to have your camera on or don't have your camera off, or have it off. And then if they requires a follow-up or it's too personal information, you can email whoever the nutrition person is, and they will get back to you about your numbers and your scan.
And what's great about the visceral fat decreasing, by the way, is that if you're decreasing visceral fat, you're likely decreasing your other body fat as well. Because targeting fat, it's not easy. So your body's just going to start whooshing fat from everywhere. And that's kind of what we want, right? To whoosh that fat. No,
I think that's going to be one of the ultimate dictators of longevity of health, is that visceral fat number. And then what are the other than this scan, what are the other matrix to determine your visceral fat level? It's a guessing game of percentages. Measure your circumference, and they say on the internet, if you Google, how do I determine my visceral fat numbers, you'll oftentimes find it's 50% of your total fat number. And for every single one of us, that number has been lower. Every single one of us, that number has been lower than 10%. By a lot.
Oh, yeah.
That's exciting. So when we're talking fat, we all had feelings immediately when we saw that fat number. Are there any other numbers on your scan when you looked at it where you had immediately thoughts or feelings or questions? Like any other numbers that you saw?
I didn't.
What about your bone mineral count? Was anybody happy or shocked or sad? Because that usually affects us more as we age and are on calorie restrictive diets that aren't high in protein.
I don't really know what that means.
And I was happy about it because I'm in menopause. I'm well over 50. And so strong bones, bone loss is important for me to know. So I was very pleased about that number.
What does that number mean?
So it'll be it'll be on page 3 next to the VAT score, and it'll be your bone density scan. I'll have a total first column, second column, third column. The first column all the way down. If you want to share, you can with either the 1 point whatever that'll be.
Yeah.
And then you can correlate that to your Z score in the box to the right, to know what percentile you are of a woman of your age.
Oh, okay.
Your demographic.
Mine says 1.3.
So you're in the 50 to 69th percentile for bone density. And my numbers have been increasing because I think of all the protein. It's a number that you can change.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up. I don't know.
On the first page, when you generate scores on because you've only done one scan. So on your first page, when you log into your account, there'll be you click the scan that you had, and then you hit generate report, and then it'll pull up a percentage graph of where you are of people in your demographic. It'll have like your fat percentage and your, like my fat percentage, like it's 23 point something percent of women my age have more fat than me. And then it'll have your lean mass percentages, and it'll have your bone mineral percentages of your demographic on there. So you can kind of judge it by there, but it's a good starting point because with all the protein you have, that number should elevate.
Yeah, but okay, so it says, okay, my score is 1.38. And then on my Z score, it says 0.5 to 1.5 is 69% to 93%.
3%? Okay, perfect.
Okay. I don't know what that means. But I'm
That's
gonna
pretty
do
good.
but
So are you looking at just the PDF, or are you looking at the
yeah, I'm
comparative?
looking at the PDF.
Go back one screen and go to the generation screen.
Where
below
generation
the-
report?
This one?
Go back to the main dashboard. Go to the main dashboard. And on the main dashboard, there's a report builder on the left-hand side.
Oh, on the website.
Right.
Yeah, on the website.
Okay, gotcha. I'm gonna have to look at that after this. I'm not logged into that right now.
Oh, okay.
So there's a number. So it has your bone density number, right? I'll have it listed on the report. I don't know if you see that, but mine is like 1.48, right? And it says you have higher bone density than 84% of people.
Let's
So
go.
like, it compares you like to how you do.
Oh, that's cool.
with
Okay,
people
wait,
your
never
age.
mind. I am signing in now. I am signing in.
She's like, that was worth my Wi-Fi, sir.
Yeah, pull that up because that's another fun report that comes at no additional charge, right?
Yeah.
You
It
guys
compares
see
where you are to other people your age.
comments? Just so we're all
One,
aware.
one moment, okay? Let me go to some news. That's wild.
And in the meantime, my bone density number was 1.49. So I have higher bone density than 99% of the people.
Let's go, Shannon. Oh my gosh.
That means
Shannon,
that-
you are absolutely killing it. I'm not seeing that specific report. That there was. Give me one
Stop.
second.
So I'm happy. Millie, we're verifying.
We're verifying,
know.
right? Thank you, Millie.
That made me happy again because I'm in menopause, which can lead to bone loss. I'm not on any hormone replacement therapy. Millie says NBC, Jay. I'm lactose intolerant, so I don't drink milk. And the only dairy I eat is cheese.
Oh, I'm a curd nerd. I love
Millie,
cheese.
I'm sorry,
Okay,
but
I'm
that
glad
part's
that
not
we had
confirmed,
this
Millie.
discussion.
I apologize. But I'll look into that later for sure. But I'm not saying that part was confirmed.
Yeah. Thank you for telling us, though.
But thank you.
What did you find out, Kayla?
So mine says that I have higher bone density than 91% of people.
There you go. Look at us. That's
It even
wonderful.
says my lean mass
Yes.
too, and I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
What's your lean mass is higher than what?
97% of people.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited.
You should be. Those
Yeah.
are good numbers to have.
Yeah.
But of course, the fat and the visceral fat are like 1%.
But look at the way that they word it. They word it in a very positive way. They try to flip the positivity. I do love that about this company.
Oh wait, no, it says.
Opportunities.
Oh gosh, this is crazy. I need to download this too.
You can screenshot it.
That's really neat.
Isn't that neat? Is there, and I know that like your other pages 4 through 6 are going to be pretty barren because you don't have the other data. But once you get your other data, it'll show you the trajectory on how your reports are going. And whether they remain in the green or the red, like red for loss, obviously, and green for growth. Well, I think that it just separate. I'm sorry, green for lean muscle, and then the red is for the fat tissue.
What's ALMI?
What's that?
ALMI.
Oh yeah. So what that is that's a measure of lean muscle mass comparatively, and they use that. The report explains that it's used as a primary measure when looking at a specific disease. It says it's used for um, sarcopenia research. It's for sarcopenia, and so it's scaled. It's lean mass from your arms and legs by your height, basically, and that's how they get that percentage. But it's to help determine as an approximation of muscle mass in sarcopenia research.
Oh, okay, that's neat.
But
Yeah,
once again, it's a lean muscle mass thing. Yeah.
and sarcopenia is what a lot of the news is surrounding GLP-1 drugs, because they're always consistently saying, oh, you're going to lose muscle mass, you're going to lose, suffer from sarcopenia, and the sarcopenia affects people that lose a significant amount of weight and people as they age. I think the average American loses about 10% of their muscle mass, 10% of what muscle mass they have per year after the age of 35.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty significant,
Oh, it's hugely significant. If you're at like 124 pounds and then 12 pounds of muscle gone in a year because of a sedentary lifestyle, and it's easier to keep than it is to keep building, especially when you're on a calorie deficit.
Mm-hmm.
So we've looked at a little bit about lean muscle mass. We've looked a bit about fat, right? Just based on the numbers that you saw, your initial instinct, do you want to change your lean muscle mass? And do you know by how much? And do you want to change your fat? If you know by how much? Let's just start there.
So I definitely want to change both numbers. I just don't know. I'd like to find out what ideal or ranges are for them. That's kind of some of the understanding I want to work through. Like, how much body fat should I have?
So for your age range, Shannon, for women in your age range, we're looking at an ideal body fat percentage of 23 to 33%.
That's body fat.
That's total body fat.
What about lean muscle mass, Jay?
So lean muscle mass is not as specific because that's going to be dependent on multiple factors, including height and genetics. And unfortunately, they still use BMI to kind of help determine that, right? But lean muscle mass is going to be, that's going to vary. But we know for fat, to reduce the risk of certain effects, negative effects, that's the range we're looking for based on your age and gender.
And that is helpful. That's super helpful. I'll share this, and I know Jay and I we have talked about this on panels before. So I saw that fat number and saw the muscle mass number and was like, damn, I got to go to the gym. And you know why, Jay? Because I want to go to the gym. I want to stay right here and walk on my walking pad and swing that kettlebell a few times a week. And those results right there are like, that ain't what you can do, ma'am. Not if you want to swing this around. You can't. You're going to have to go to the gym. You're going to have to go.
Increase the intensity is what we're looking at? Is that what we're thinking?
Damn it, man. No, I don't want to. But yes, this will make Sabrina and Ra happy.
Oh, they will love to hear that you're planning to go to the gym. They are gym girlies for sure. There are people in our community.
Be a gym girly. They don't want to.
That's not a dream of mine.
Be an angry gym girly.
That's what it's gonna be, baby.
I'm go there and just have a really mad face as you're on that damn stair stepper.
Every single time, baby, I'm gonna be cussing because I don't like it. There's no amount of like, oh my god, it's so great, and you get no, I don't like it. I ain't never liked it. Not gonna like it, but this brings understanding and information, and I do understand because I have this information. If I want to make very specific changes, I gotta do what I gotta do. So I've got to increase the amount of strength training I do to make it work. on the next scan, whenever that is, whenever I can get back to Dallas. It's not going to change unless I change. So
Wait, that right there, that's what I want everybody to get. That, what you said right there, Shannon, is what I wanted to, because how long have you, may I ask, how long have you been on this journey?
Oh, sure. I have been on this journey since, technically I've been on this journey 5.5 years, but really, really on this journey, I've been on since September. So it's almost 10 months.
Okay. So in 10 months, 10 months until today, how many times have you heard that you need to go to the gym?
I haven't heard it. I've heard.
Or their question is that you need to go to the gym and start strength training.
Nobody's ever really said that. They've always encouraged and you know, you don't want to think about it. No, I don't like the gym. I want to just get out here on the track and walk, and then maybe I have some weights at home, do a little bit of weight at home, and let that be.
But there was never
so 10 months of being on this journey and you having the data that you have, and now you're like, I'm going to the gym. And that is why I love this scan so much, and having people have the data.
I'm going to cry because I'm going to the gym.
No, here's the deal, Candace. I'm not going to speak for Candace, but I'm going to also speak for Candace. Here's the thing. We aren't gym girlies either. Is that accurate, Candace? But having the data has made us change the ways that we approach getting our movement, our strength training, and working out in. Like, it's actively changing it, our approaches, right? Is that safe to say, Candace?
Oh yeah, that's what I have a different experience. I heard, maybe it wasn't people directly saying, "Hey, Candace, go to the gym. You need to go to the gym." But I heard it so many times, like throughout my entire other journeys. But this one in particular, strength training is so important. You have to do it. You have to do it. And I'm like, I don't want to. I hate the gym. Hate it. Hate it. I hate everything about it. I don't want it. I don't like the people. I don't like the culture. I don't like nothing. I hate it. Hate it. We got that DEXA scan and get you the gym girly.
Still hate it, but you're there.
RBF all day, the whole time, unapproachable.
Well, and when I looked at my stuff, it kind of made me think more like along the lines of my body is my gym. Because I call my arms my roast arms, because to me they look like big fat giant roasts. Okay. And I found out that each arm is 20 pounds.
That is an arm, ma'am.
So I'm like, okay, well, I can definitely use my arms as weights.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, doing exercises just with my arms at home is gonna benefit me. You know, and you know, that's what strength training is, right?
Yeah, body weight is an absolutely very accessible and important role to play in strength training and resistance training. Body weight, absolutely. But knowing where your body weight is, does that affect how you're going to approach it? Because, like you said, you know your arms are 20 pounds each, so you're like, I got this, right? Like,
right. And same with my legs. Like, my thighs and my legs weigh a lot, and you know, it's like, okay, like picking up my legs and doing stuff with my legs. You know, my legs almost weigh more than my upper body. You know, so it's gonna be interesting, and I think that's the avenue that I'm gonna go down. And because I love the Stairmaster is my favorite, but that would be the only thing I would want to use in the gym right now, I think.
I get that. I mean, I don't get liking the Stairmaster, but I get like finding one machine and then focusing on it. I totally get that.
Even if you just got one of those, remember in the late 90s, they had that little cheap plastic step thing that you stepped on, the stepping things, they have the DVD with them. Even something like that, just utilizing your own body weight. And there's so many exercises on YouTube and on the internet that require nothing else. They're just strength training, utilizing your own body weight. I think you're going to do great.
Yeah, I'm
I think
excited.
That's a great approach.
And I had a trainer one time that told me that the stepper would be more beneficial than using the Stairmaster. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that, so yeah.
But so after you had the scan and the information, because Jay and I had, I think, not just speaking for Jay, but speaking for Jay, because we saw it on live. We just had this monumental shift in how we viewed everything. Like, how has your shift been since opening scan, if there was one? Like opening your results up, like how has it changed any of the things that you plan to do?
I mean, it's gonna change. It's certainly gonna change how I exercise. I have a choice. If I really want to not have the body I want, but the healthiest version of my body, I have to make some changes. So I don't have a choice. I now comes figuring out kind of what that goal weight should look like, and then playing around with that.
Let's talk numbers in a second about goal weights, because I want to get to that conversation. Don't forget. Let's come back to that. But I think it's interesting though what you said about using that information to target your exercise. And Kayla mentioned with her arms and how much they weigh and all that. So these scans are so specific. They tell you the amount of weight in your arms and your legs and your torso, right? Like it gives you all that information, tells you the muscle mass and the fat percentage, right, in all those areas. And of course it has that picture. But like, will it help you target things differently now that you know where you have your muscle and your fat, and like, will that help determine what activities you're going to add in? Obviously, you may have to do more research on which activities, but will having that information help you target?
Yeah, I think. Oh, go ahead, Shannon. Go ahead.
It should.
When you put it like that, Jay.
It sounds like a maybe.
So it should, right? So when I walk into the gym, I should be looking at, but I know that overall I need to increase my just physical strength, period, because I'm getting older. You tend to get weaker and all that. So I already knew that. But I will definitely, based on the shape of my scan and the shape of my body, I know that I need to target my abdominal area, working on the fat there, as well as my legs. And in the process of that, strength training on my legs.
Okay. And I think for me, just looking at the photo, I can see that I have the least amount of muscle on my upper arms compared to everywhere else that there is muscle. So I'm thinking, obviously, incorporating movement is key, but I think I would stick to, doing a daily walk for my entire body, and then maybe incorporating the arm exercises to specifically pinpoint that area. And I think I want to just try that until I have my next scan and see, what the fat on my legs and the rest of my body is doing with the muscle mass as well. Like, I think I'm just going to hyper focus on one area, to build muscle, because I can see that there's one area that needs more muscle right now.
I utilized it to even stuff out. I put so in my EMS suit that I have, I put weights on one arm as opposed to the other arm, so I can even them out.
Ooh, that's smart. That's very smart. So,
wait, before we go into the rest of the numbers, I wanted to, before we forget, I really wanted to go, because it's important to me, the metabolic rate difference between your scan information and the TDE calculator.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Okay,
what is blank faces?
What is that?
You talking about the resting metabolic rate?
Yeah, your resting metabolic rate that you have on your scan versus the one that's available online.
So I really wasn't using the TDEE calculator. I had been using the Lucid app, and then I saw that I have a Renfo scale, and it has it as well. There's
that's fine. What's the data difference between whatever you're using that you didn't get from the scan and the scan?
It's about, I think, 150 calorie difference. Let me look again.
In a positive or negative way?
DEXA says, DEXA says 1394. Renfo says 1561.
Oh.
How many? Wait. Let me. I want to math it out. What does the Renfo say? What is it?
1561.
And then your scan.
DEXA says 1394.
1394. Let me.
Trying to set you up for failure.
Huh?
First of all, like looking at those numbers, do you think, in your opinion, do you think they're wildly off, a little bit off, or?
I don't think they're wildly off. My goal was I was trying to hit about 1,500 calories. I'm sorry. I was trying to hit a little above 1,500 calories a day because I have a very sedentary job. So I sit at the computer a lot. So I have to force movement. So for me, I didn't really think they were that wildly off. I will say this. So I weighed one thing on Friday, the Friday before I left, and I had my scan on that Monday. And I didn't know that. I thought they were using the information I gave them for weight. No, the table weighs you.
Yeah.
And listen, I walked out feeling skin tight.
That's great. That
I weighed less than I did on Friday.
if nothing were to change, like, and everything were to remain the same from this day and this day on, your scale that you have at home and your actual resting metabolic rate are off by 60,955 calories per year, with a potential weight gain or loss of 17.42 pounds.
Damn, Candace, when you put it like that, I'm just
Your
looking
scale
at it
was
per
trying to set
day.
you up, Candace.
But that's the kind of difference that it is, though. That is a big difference. And you're saying that it's only off by 167 calories, so it's not a huge difference. But you're thinking about a caloric deficit that most people have on average is about 500. That's a lot.
That is huge. You're right. So you just shifted my lens. Which is great. This is the kind of stuff I love. I live for.
So Shannon, you just found out that you could have been losing an extra almost 20 pounds a year if you follow the numbers on the DEXA scan.
So so let's be clear. I've always looked at the scale with a bit of a grain of salt. I have not always taken that as the gospel. I see all these numbers, but I don't necessarily focus in on them every time I get on. I really mainly care about the big number, the LB number. That's what I'm mainly caring about, when I get on most days, pretty much every day.
It's feeling like that's the only number we should trust most of the time, but I only know we should trust that one at this point because Kayla had that evil scale. I don't necessarily, I like for it to give me an idea. And, we all give these updates on where we are in our journey. But I guess I kind of trust the doctor's office scale a little bit more. So I'm looking to see how off when I go to the doctor, is that number really off based on what I weighed this morning? Yeah, I have on some clothes, but it wasn't that much. And let's be honest, I had on clothes for the DEXA scan, and I still weighed less than thought I did. So, so I take the scale with a grain of salt. It is definitely a measure of kind of where I am, but it is not the absolute gospel. Now, let's be clear. It'll be the gospel when it says 199.8. Maybe that thing is right and true that day. That day, it's right and true.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts. But yeah, but seriously, I do take it with a grain of salt. It is not the absolute gospel because, you know, the way I understand about homes are like floors can be uneven. I don't know that my bathroom floor is 100% like level. So, you know, anything can throw a scale off. So I take it with a grain of salt. But let's be clear. When it says 199.9 or 8 or whatever, it's the gospel. It's for real. It's for real. Y'all just help. I'm going to remind y'all of that now when that post comes, because, baby, that post will be loading. Still got a ways, but it's loading and it's true.
I love that. One time I had a goal like faster than I thought it was going to be, and it turned out that I got to solve a puzzle. Hold on. I hit a goal faster than I thought, and it turns out there was like a little pebble under the scale. I was like, damn it.
That's so funny.
You never know. And I mean, that's what I'm like, my bathroom floors could be uneven. So anything can throw it off. So I take it with a grain of salt. But
Miss
I think
Kayla,
about the caloric thing. That's big.
Miss Kayla, what about your metabolic rate?
Okay, so I've used it like years ago, but I just used the TDEE calculator, and it says the estimated TDEE or body weight maintenance energy requirement is 3,298. Is that the number you're looking for?
3,298?
Yeah, is that the number you're looking for?
Yeah.
Okay, now get this, what the DEXA scan says. Y'all are about to pass out.
I know.
I'm not even lying. The DEXA scan says 1,700.
Let me math on that one. Check a different resting metabolic rate calculator online just to confirm.
Yeah. Let's check a different one because I'm gonna pass out here because that will be more.
No, but that's what I get every time I use a calculator like this. Like, it's crazy. Hold on, I'm gonna do it again on another one.
I'm going to do mine on the TDEE calculator too. Let's see.
Oh yeah, we're gonna pass out on this one.
Because our friend Will, who got his DEXA scan a few weeks ago, he had a 500 calorie difference. 500 calories.
TDEE says this says maintenance calories. My maintenance calories for my weight should be 1,765.
No, because we want just the resting metabolic number. So the calculations is
1,470.
Is this the energy expenditure or basal metabolic rate?
Your basal metabolic rate.
This one says 2,402.
Okay, so let's go with that one. That's a more realistic number.
Yeah.
Okay, let me math off of that one.
But we're still talking.
Okay, but it does say like, okay, so I have it at no activity. But if I put it to like a daily walk,
no, we just want the basal because that's what the scan information is. That's so the way to think about it is if you had a gas powered car and you turned it on and you just set it in the driveway, it's the bare minimum. As your body is the car, it's the bare minimum that car needs to operate to keep it alive. Like how long it's going to go. When you like, I'm going to go on a trip or go uphill or I walk or like anything else extra. It's if you're like sedentary, like you're laying in a bed, bedridden. That's the amount of energy expended to keep your body alive.
Okay, gotcha.
That's what your basal metabolic rate or your resting metabolic rate is.
So 56 calories between TDEE and DEXA for me.
Well, let me do Kayla's.
That's interesting.
Mine's
okay,
like
so you ready
700.
for this number? So you had a 702 calorie per day difference, which is 256,230 calories per year for a potential weight loss or gain difference of 73.2 pounds.
Okay, I don't know what that means, but I know it means something crazy.
That's just basically, yeah, go please, Jay, go for it.
What that basically means is that if you were eating or making adjustments based on the TDEE calculator's numbers alone, you would be basically leaving 73 pounds on the table where you could have lost. Or if you are eating above or eating at that level, you could technically be gaining depending on your current.
Yeah, and that's why I never have gone by these, you know, and my doctor usually suggests around 1600 for me, which kind of goes with the DEXA scan in a way.
The DEXA scan is at 1700.
So if I want to have a calorie deficit, that means that I need to consume less than 1700.
No. That's your resting rate. You have to then take into consideration your amount of activity that your lifestyle leads. So if you have a desk job, you can put that into the calculator. Or like if you're a UPS guy, your energy expenditure is different. That is just your baseline based on that's your baseline to operate lying still in a bed. And then you factor in like on the how many calories of consumption that your lifestyle. You add that on there, and then you subtract the amount of calories you wanted to have as a deficit, right, Jay? Or maybe Jay can explain it better.
No, that sounds like you said it right. Yeah, because that baseline that you're looking at is just to keep you alive in your current body. It's what it takes to be healthy in your current body, right? And
so that's what I should be consuming every day.
No, if you consume that every day, you're going to probably feel like you're starving, kind of, right? You're going to probably feel that way, just because that's the baseline to keep you at your current weight and alive. But if you increase it above that just a bit, what will happen is because you aren't just lying in the bed, right? You aren't just lying in the bed.
I'm just kidding.
Like you want to consider your actual activity level, right? So your activity level, because you're going to burn additional calories on top of that, right?
Right.
So let's say you worked out that day, you maybe burned 350, 400 additional calories. So that gets you up to like 2,000 right there, just for your body to maintain, and that gets you up to 2,000 calories that you can consume and be fine, right? If you are have a job that works additional and you're walking around all day, then that can get you an extra 300 there, and your body will burn it without gaining weight, right? It's just kind of that thing. Like, but if you did absolutely nothing at all, you consumed only 1,700 calories according to your numbers, at that point you would
maintain. Yeah, you would maintain
your burn weight.
Okay, yeah, gotcha. You need to consider your NEAT factor to your non-exercise activity thermogenesis numbers, and that's like things like doing the laundry and like watering the grass, like those, like doing housework and your chores. That'll be your NEAT like number that you can add into there. NEAT,
Gotcha.
Non-exercise activity thermogenesis, and that counts too.
Yeah. So like eating at that lowest number possible is not something most of us have to do, because we are active. We're more active than that number. And so you can give yourself grace. But the thing is that you want to use that number for planning purposes, so you don't go too far above it, right? Based on your activity level. If you know that your activity level is just a mid-range activity level, you wouldn't say, okay, I have 1,000 extra calories to play with. No, you wouldn't do that. But you would say, okay, I probably have 300 or 400. Like, there's ways to calculate it, right? But yeah, it's just a baseline.
And on most of the calculators online, you can plug in your resting metabolic rate, because now you know the actual number. That's the point of the data, because now you have a real baseline number. Because what you would have done is you would have put in your resting metabolic rate that you had gotten previously from your TD-like calculator, whatever it is, your smart scale, whatever. Plug that in there, added your whatever activity level you are, minused it out, and you would have been off by 73.2 pounds per year. Or 256,000 calories difference.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Wait, I gotta go use the bathroom. I gotta pee real quick. I drank too much water.
No, you're good.
Good job.
I'll be right back.
While you take care of business, Shannon, let's talk goals. You said, I don't have a goal weight number. You said you don't have one.
I don't. I don't have one because I don't know what I should weigh. So, kind of what I've said is I want to get to 200 and see what that looks like, feels like, and then try to maybe grab a number or something from there. I don't know. I don't know how much I should weigh. I know what certain weights have looked like on me, but that was 20, 30 years ago. So, and I'm a very different human being than that. So I want to figure out, how I look. Do I think I look cute? What do the clothes look like? Do I need a 2-inch inseam? What am I going to get out here and do? Listen, how am I going to pop out on them, Jay?
I got you. I definitely got you. So, I have a handy spreadsheet here. If you're willing to give me some numbers, I can help you kind of start playing in your head a bit with that, if you're willing.
Okay, come on, let's go.
Okay. So let's start with your lean muscle mass from the report.
So right now, my lean muscle is 10. You want it in pounds?
Yes, please not kilograms.
103.1.
Okay. And what about your current fat pound?
124.3.
And would you mind sharing
gotta get one
weight if you're okay with that?
My current weight? Listen, we are here giving updates. So how would I be shy about that? Well, at least I'm sorry. I've been giving updates. I haven't given one lately. According to this, I was 134.1.
For your current total weight?
I'm sorry, 234.1. My God.
Oh, I was like, girl, you're already in Wonderland.
234.1. I wish. No, I don't even think I don't want to be that bad.
Okay, give me 1 second. And then I'm going to ask you. So we talked a little bit while I'm doing these numbers. We did talk a little bit about the goal ideal body fat range. Just looking at that percentage that you have, right? What do you think would be the highest number you would be comfortable with?
Highest weight?
No, highest fat percentage.
Listen,
Give her the ranges again.
Yeah, no, I got him. Listen, no.
Yes,
I wrote them down.
Okay.
So we look at 23 to 33%. What's the highest you think you would be comfortable with?
Let's go with 33 since half of me is already fat.
Okay, 33. Yeah, that's within the healthy range. I support that. Okay, and then what would be the lowest you think you would be focusing on maintaining? You'd be comfortable?
In terms of body fat percentage or weight?
Body fat percentage.
Let's go let's go 30, 28, between 28 and 30. Because this is like a 10. Let's go half. Since that's a 10% range.
Okay, so you want to do 28? Okay. All right. Okay, and then that one more number we're going to look at and think about hypotheticals. Okay. Just thinking about hypotheticals. So, when it comes to your lean muscle mass, you have a number here of 103.1 pounds. You've already made a decision that you're going to get in more strength training. Do you think your goal for that strength training is going to be to maintain your lean muscle mass or to gain some more? Or just how you're feeling right now?
To gain more. I definitely want to gain more.
All right. And when we're talking gains, what do you think? What do you feel in this moment, without extra research or anything? Just what you feel would be a reasonable amount to gain.
Um,
How tall are you, Shannon?
I'm 5'7".
Okay.
I don't know, like, because I want to math it out. I want to sit here and like math it. So 40-something% of me is lean muscle. Forget. So maybe like, well, let's see. If saying I want to be about 30%, that leaves another 70. So let's say 60% lean muscle.
So 60% lean muscle. Well, that would depend on your goal to get to that 60% lean muscle. So we would have to have a goal number first. So we're trying to get to a goal number. So what we need to do is figure out how much we would just instinctually, how much, because I'm assuming you don't want to gain like 50 pounds of muscle. Like, I'm assuming that's not the plan. So like a range that you would feel, you think sounds reasonable, just from what you know.
So, okay, so let me say this. So I'm thinking that maybe I want to weigh somewhere between 160 and 180. That's what I want to weigh, period, I think.
That's what you're thinking, but will that get you into your fat range with your lean muscle mass? That's the question.
Oh, no.
So that's why we have to start with the lean muscle mass and ask the question. Like, if we can do the numbers if we just maintain the current lean muscle mass to get a starting point. Do you want to do that? Just if we maintain the current lean muscle mass. Don't lose, don't gain, but maintain. You want to start there?
Let's start there.
Okay, that's absolutely something we can do. I know it's hard to imagine because it's like, I've never really thought about my lean muscle mass. I know that was the thing for me. Like, I had never really considered it, right?
Yeah, no, I had not. At all. Tay, are you going to do the math for us?
G has a spreadsheet.
I do have a spreadsheet, and I'm spreadsheeting right now. I promise.
Oh, no, he's spreadsheeting.
Tay doesn't want to do the math for us. I thought maybe she would want to join in and do the math.
Oh, is Tay a math wizard?
She is.
Oh, really? I'm a chat GPT wizard. So every 2 weeks I get this scan. And I have to, like, it kills me because it's from where the scan is to where I like to go and reveal my results. It's an hour drive. And so I just sit there with like chat GPT, like mathing the math for me.
Okay, Shannon, we've got some numbers.
I mean, I feel like we should have a drum roll.
So this is just if our lean muscle mass is at the same level, we maintain the muscle mass we have currently, okay?
Okay.
And of course, this includes your bone, and we're going to aim for our goal fat percentages, right? So if we're looking at the 28%, that's the lowest body fat percentage. We're looking at 138.67 pounds. Now, if we go for the highest that you're comfortable with, which would be the 33%, we'll be looking at 143.82 pounds.
How do you feel about those numbers?
And that's, hold on, sorry. My light fell. These are lean muscle mass numbers, right? No, total body weight?
That's total body weight. That's with bone, muscle, and fat.
That's too small. I don't want to be
So that's really good information for you, though, because if you wanted to be in that healthy range of body
fat,
that's how much you would have to weigh if you didn't gain any new muscle.
Wow.
So that's gaining no muscle and being in the healthy fat range. Are you willing to go beyond the healthy fat range or to increase muscle to get to a number you feel you will be comfortable with? What are you willing to do? Is the question.
That's something to think about. I'm going to have to think about that. Like, because for me, I feel like that's too thin. And as an example, if you were to go to my page, I posted a picture. I posted a series of pictures of when I was a flight attendant. I was 24. I just turned 24. And the very first picture on the post, I'm like 150 pounds.
But the question is, in that 150 pounds,
Were you?
what was your lean muscle mass?
It was definitely more than it is now. I was out here doing it.
So I guess the question is, are you willing to up your muscle mass again? But that's something you have to think about. I'm not asking you to have an answer today. But you have some numbers now to play with, right? And you can always come back to me, and we can always rerun these numbers in the spreadsheet to make your life easy. So we can always do that. But you have numbers.
Jay.
Yeah. So and do you know what your numbers would look like? This is still, I stand by the fact that it's garbage, but what does BMI say for you?
Let me look. I'm at my computer as well.
I no longer have a goal weight. I have a goal fat percentage, and that's the only number that I care about. I don't care about my weight anymore because I don't want to, at the end of this, for me, I don't want to end up skinny fat where I appear to be lean or appear to be skinny, or I'm in a single size of clothing, but it's mainly fat, or it's an unhealthy range of fat.
I have a goal fat percentage range, right, and a goal weight range, but under my understanding, if I reach my goal fat percentage, it's going to actually get me to my goal weight range.
Yeah.
So I think they're connected. So if I focus on that goal fat percentage, it's going to get me to the goal weight range. That's how I'm looking at it.
But if I were to lose muscle and not have my strength training go on, and I were to get to my goal weight and like I lost a bunch of muscle in the meantime, is it the ratio is going to remain the same? Because I'm basing that on my current amount of muscle. My current amount of muscle is carrying 219 pounds around with it all day long. The more weight that I lose, I'm losing that, body resistant, that natural body resistance that I have all day, that I'm carrying myself upstairs, that I'm lifting myself off the sofa or off of the floor. The smaller I get, the less resistant I'm going to have on my day-to-day life.
Yeah, that is accurate. And that's why it goes back to why strength training for a lot of us is going to be part of the recipe for success. It's because we are losing that natural resistance. We are going to start losing some muscle mass because we aren't doing things to actively maintain it, right? And it's something we have to consider.
Yeah, because I know that I cannot carry 80 pounds around with me right now all day long. I couldn't do it, but I did before.
So to get to a 27 BMI at my height, I'd have to be 172 pounds.
And what's your height?
5'7".
Give me 1 second.
Well, according to this, and I'm using kind of the med metric, just a 30 BMI, I'm 191 pounds.
And that's at the obese level, right? 30 BMI?
Mm-hmm.
Wait. 27, is that... Wait, I'm sorry.
I was using the meds because, they say 30 with no comorbidities, 27 with some. So I was just using that.
And what was that number, 179 you said?
27 is 172.
While Jay's doing the math on that, I could tell you guys something. You want me to tell them about visceral fat and how much I lost, Jay, or you want me to wait?
Yeah, go ahead. Go for it.
So, for example of your visceral fat levels, when I had my the very first comparative scan was May 22nd. And let me pull up my visceral fat levels. This is Okay. Kayla, this is your scam. Sorry.
That's so funny.
I was like, there's no comparative results. Let me pull up this mine. Sorry. Okay, so I went from 1.44 pounds of visceral fat that surrounded all of my organs. And remember, I had fatty liver disease. And then the next scan, I went to 1.22 pounds of visceral fat. And this last scan, I am 0.8 pounds of visceral fat.
That's
0.8.
amazing.
0.8.
That is a
Get it,
lot
girl.
of fat burning. That is crazy.
No, I'm
good.
sorry, it's 0.9. I'm sorry, 0.9.
That's still a lot about burning.
Yeah, so me
That's
increasing my protein goals for that 2 weeks, because I had the scans exactly 14 days apart. I increased my protein goals and my strength training, and made sure my water was on point every single day. So by doing those little things that I changed in this experiment that I was running those 2 weeks, I increased my visceral fat burning rate by 37%. In 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, I that's an incredible amount to shed in 2 weeks. 0.3 pounds.
That is amazing.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
So that is possible. So those visceral fat numbers can it's possible. And that was the most exciting number from my last scan.
That is super exciting.
Amazing.
I'm sorry, Shannon. I have some numbers here, so I have to ask. Okay, so if we're talking BMI, right? So your goal is to not drop below a 27 BMI. That's your goal?
We're going to say that right now. Yeah, that's my goal.
Because that's technically not in the healthy range, right? That's theoretically not, right? That's still in the overweight range. So
Yes.
so if we look at that 172 number and we maintain your current levels of muscle mass, still, it all goes back to the muscle mass, right? So we're going to calculate that out real fast, and we'll figure out how we get there, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I love doing this math. Don't judge me for the fun that I'm having with this.
Jeff, you like to play like this private and go with this.
Josh, you can get them done in most cities, but if you're in Los Angeles, Seattle, Tacoma, Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, or the Los Angeles area, and San Francisco, you can get them done for $29 for the first scan and $39 for the extra scans if you choose the monthly plan. And there's also quarterly plans and just buy the amount of scans that you want as well. It's the company, it's called Body Spec.
Represent.
Body Spec. No, they don't have any, but you can oftentimes find them on like Groupons. And then you might want to, this type of scan is available in every state. They're not as accurate, but they're a lot more accurate than your home scale. And a lot of places will offer these free in different nutrition centers, places they sell supplements or protein drinks. You can get an in-body scan. But DEXA is the gold standard.
Okay. So Shannon, so what we will be looking at to do 172 pounds at your current lean muscle mass and bone mass, right? We would want to have about 62.2 pounds of fat. And that would bring your fat percentage at about 36%. Which is about 3 percentage points higher, than
the ideal range.
Mm-hmm. And that's just something you have to think about. What you're comfortable with, what you're aiming for, and for you, it's going to be about feel and the look, right? It'll be about feel and the look.
It is. It's also the number, but I know that I don't want to be as thin as I was in that picture, and I was 150 pounds in that picture. So, this is all like really stuff to like chew on and continue to like kind of calculate it out.
Do you want to do one more fun thought experiment with this?
You want to let Kayla go?
Yeah. So this is one that I want to we'll do offline, but let's figure out if the mass, we can figure out the lean muscle mass you would get to if you want 172 in the healthy range. And we can figure out that later. But just think about it.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, Kayla.
Hey.
We've been playing with numbers. Do you currently have a goal weight that you've been looking at?
Yeah, like I was thinking between 180 and like 200. That's kind of like always where my head has been.
Between 180 and 200. That's where your head's been. Okay, cool. So I just want to confirm, we can run some numbers for you if you're okay with sharing.
Yeah, of course.
Scan. Okay. So what's the lean muscle mass that's listed?
137.3.
You are muscular. I got that. How about current pounds of fat?
212.4.
And what's the total current weight that it has listed?
356.5.
And we're going to do a little math here, and this will just take a second. But while we're doing this math, I just want to go ahead and confirm for you, for a healthy actual range of ideal, I'm not going to say healthy, but the ideal body fat range here for a woman in your age range, we do have that number, and that range is 21 to 32%. 21 to 32%.
Yeah, that
Okay,
makes
so
sense. I would
what?
say maybe do something like 26 or something, like a number kind of in the middle.
Okay, 26 for the low. What about for the high?
I guess the highest.
32? Okay. And in terms of lean muscle mass, you have a good amount of lean muscle mass. Do you think you would want to maintain it? Where it's
Yeah, I
at?
think that's going to be my goal, is to maintain.
Okay.
And I think I have a feeling like throughout the weight loss, I might end up losing some, but it might end up being somewhere else. Like
That's
losing
very
it from
likely
a
to
specific place and then it'll go somewhere else. So that's kind of like where my brain's at. So I think the maintaining is going to be key.
The national
I agree.
average is between 25 and 40% of the weight that you lost. So if you lost 10 pounds of weight, the national average is between 2.5 and 4 pounds of that would be muscle loss.
And the thing is that we would have a better idea of this for all of us if we got DEXA scans at the early part of the journey, where we could calculate what that 20% muscle loss will look like, right? From where our starting point is. But most of us are in the middle of our journeys or somewhere else. So what we're basing it off of is you might have lost all your muscle mass already, or you might gain muscle mass at this point. We don't know for sure, right, Candace? Like
I know for sure because I tried to carry 80 pounds the other day and I couldn't do it. I couldn't even pick it up. So there is my theory was I wonder if I could just like hold like something and maybe strap it on my back. It was not physically possible. So I know that I have lost mass, but no, but Jay is right though. We don't know where we are because we didn't get the DEXA scan in the very beginning. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And the more muscle that you maintain, like if you notice from your next scan, if you drop your lean mass, you'll notice that metabolic number go down. It's directly reflected on your metabolic rate is directly reflected on the amount of lean mass that you have.
That makes sense.
So the more the muscle that you maintain, the more because muscles are very calorically expensive. So the more that you can maintain, build, or grow, the more calories your body needs to just keep them going.
So you can eat more if you have more muscle. Fun fact.
Yeah. Yeah, you can eat more and you can, yeah. Just your expenditure is just, it's just like free calorie burning all day long, but you have to have the protein to back it up.
Mm-hmm.
A complete protein.
Right. I am like obsessed with that right now.
No,
But
not
it's cool,
just collagen.
Yeah,
feel
collagen's
like-
not, for everybody listening, collagen is not protein. It has a PDC AAS score of 0. Cornflakes has more protein in it to build muscles than collagen.
Do not count collagen towards your goal for the day. Please don't.
Or
Okay.
almonds. Almonds, because they're missing tryptophan. You can pair foods together to make them complete, but they're not complete as they stand.
So Kayla, here we go. So
All right.
for the low at your, if you maintain your lean muscle mass, the low that we're looking at 26% body fat would be 179.79 pounds.
Yeah, that's like kind of,
Perfect.
yeah, that's kind of just where I'm at, you know, like in my mind.
And if you wanted to do for the 32% body fat, to give yourself a little bit less stress, right? We would be looking at 188.04.
Yeah, that's like right there.
So
That's
you
so
set the
neat.
goals
I love
very
that.
realistically.
And that's kind of, you know, that's whenever I saw these numbers and I did the math myself, you know, in the car and stuff, I was like, okay, yeah, that like gives me an idea, and it was very comparable to what I had in my head. So I'm kind of happy about that.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think yours is the first one I've heard that's been like that spot on, right? Like you knew your body, and that's pretty special. Like most of us have, we're pretty far in the dark. So that great job, Taylor. Like seriously.
Thank you. I'm just excited, you know. I think like that in my brain had to do with my height anyway. I think I never like imagined being less than that, like ever, just because of how tall I am.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that helped that too.
So the thing about these numbers is they're all contingent on, you know, body fat where we imagine that to be at, right? And where we imagine our lean muscle mass to be. How open are y'all to, as you get more scans to gather more data, as you continue your journey, how open are you to adjusting your goal up or down? How open are you to that?
I'm very open because, I mean, we can't, the goal is to hope that all of this changes in the way that you want, but I don't have any control over it. Not enough control as I work to increase my size. Because I'm naturally very hippie. I'm not going to lose. There'll be no Ozempic booty here. I'm not losing the don't. It's going to be there. It'll be smaller, but I'm not going to lose it. So, like,
I believe the technical term that is being used now is Ozempic.
Ozempic.
That's a community term, you know, where, look, the circles I run in, I got a donk. Yeah.
And how are you feeling about the possibilities, Kayla, of, you know, shifting up or down with your goal?
Yeah, I think when the time comes, I think I'll know, if that makes sense. Like I don't really have an issue because the whole goal is to be in a place where I know that I'm healthy and I don't have to worry about necessarily like being so strict all the time or having to worry that I'm gonna gain weight or anything like that. Like I think just knowing what a normal range for me, I'm gonna be okay with that if I fluctuate over the years. But I think it's more of like the like tiny numbers, you know, like a 10-pound difference isn't as much as like a 60-pound difference. You know what I mean? So I think in my mind, it's definitely just something I'm going to be okay with, you know, along the ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess
what I'm saying is like, I'd rather be okay with weighing 200 pounds than weighing 260 pounds. You get what I'm saying? Like, and if that means that I'm 2% more body fat, like, okay, I'll just lose 20 pounds when I can, if I want to, you know what I mean? So that's kind of like how I feel about that.
I love it that it puts us on the trajectory for the right amount of thinking, and then we get the ability to make adjustments along the road, having the correct data to start with. It gives you a great starting point, regardless of you know, you both, neither one of you live in Dallas, you just happen to be there, but the next time you go out there, it's just something to work with, and you'll have 2 points of data, and then you can see what was my percentage of muscle loss. Do I need to increase the strength training at the gym? How do I need to adjust my thing, how my body responded to my weight loss? And you now have real data. And I think it's super empowering.
Like, having this data means you can make active decisions. Like, because on this journey, a lot of our decisions, I feel like, until you get a scan, a lot of your decisions are passive, meaning that you're just going after like ideas, right? Like, there's nothing to target, right? I'm just going for a body, you know, but I'm not sure what that body is, or I'm just going for a number, but I'm not sure how I got to this number. I'm, you know, like, everything's kind of passive, right? But now we can actively target things, right? And you have more data to work with than less. And I just think that's super empowering, right? Like, it's just something that puts you more in the driver's seat. But it also makes things a little bit more complicated, I feel. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but there may not be as hard of a stop on getting to maintenance as I thought it was, right? Like, I thought that maintenance would be when I hit a specific number, like on the scale. I thought that would be maintenance. But for me, from this point, look at the scan, it's going to be when I get to a certain body fat percentage. That's when I know I'll be in maintenance for me. It's like, it'll be that body fat percentage. Like, it'll be within the healthy range for my, you know, age. Like, once I'm there, then I'll know for sure.
Yeah. And something I keep thinking about since I've gotten the scan too, is I keep thinking about the skin, the extra skin, and how, like, at what weight and what percentage of fat am I going to want to get rid of that, you know? Because, like, if I have the extra skin on my body and I reach my goal weight, that's not really my true weight if I'm going to be removing some of that excess skin. So I've been thinking about that a lot too, and I think that having this data is going to help me know when that's the right time too.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to say that.
No, I think it's a very valid point to bring into the mix, and then it's something very valid for your plastic surgeon too, to say, hey, I have X percentage of body fat, and this is, you know, and this is how I know. That way your skin removal surgery is as successful as you want it to be, and your end of that process of this journey is as successful aesthetically as the way that you want it to be as well. Might be a very powerful tool going into plastic surgery.
Yeah, I agree.
And then if you're targeting things like building muscle mass, lean muscle mass, or targeting things like fat burning, right? Like, that can alter the timeline for you as well. Like, you can be like, when I get to this fat percentage, then I'll get it. Or you can be like, you know, I refuse to do it until I have this much lean mass on me. Or, you know, like, you can use different data points besides just a mirror. Like, can you imagine, like, before you having the scan, the mirror would be basically the only way to know, like, I think it's time, right? Like, it's like, maybe I can use a little bit more data to make that decision.
Right.
And that's an excellent point, because not this previous scan, the scan before that I had, I was, you know, talking to not only Jay, but to my other around here type friends. And I was thinking, well, I've been, you know, working this suit and I'm just killing it. I wonder, because the month prior I had a 6-pound gain in muscle, which is absolutely nuts, right? That is a crazy number. And I was like feeling my own arms. I'm like, God, they're just so toned. I'm doing so great. And I went and got the scan. And I had lost 2.1 pounds of overall muscle, 1 pound in particularly in my arms. So I thought I was killing it. I was in my house. I would have bet, I'm a betting person. I would have bet you money that I was killing it in my arms. And I went and had the scan and I got the results. And I just remember like this feeling of just ultimate defeat because I was pushing myself extremely hard. And I felt like my body was like 1 pound in my arms. It's like my smallest like limb. And so I was really, I drove home, even though I had 12.8 pounds of fat, so an overall weight loss of 14 point something, I couldn't get the 2.1 pounds of muscle loss out of my head. That's all I tried to, because I was filming it, so I was trying to be like whatever on camera. I'm just not happy. And then every month I get the next scan, or every time I get a scan, I get this one too, to do comparative data results. And so the disappointment and defeat, but what it allowed me to do once I regrouped was change the trajectory of the next scan. I was basing my protein intake based on my previous goal weight. So I was taking my previous unrealistic, just stupid number goal weight that I had in my fairy tale, because I've never been skinny. So I don't know what I would look like at whatever pounds. So I just made up a number. Well, I would have looked emaciated. I want to be healthy and lean and not, like a coat hanger. And so I was so I increased my protein and I increased in my EMS suit. I increased the intensity in my arms. Following next scan I just had, like only 2 weeks later, I had recouped almost all of that muscle loss by just making those two modifications. But my thing is, what if I had just kept operating as I was before I had the chance to have the data to change the trajectory of my journey? Mm-hmm. That's what I think is so powerful, because I really felt that I was nailing everything, and my protein was 50 grams lower than probably it should have been. I wasn't increasing, so I use an EMS suit because I can't work out like in a traditional gym because I have problems with my neck. But if you were in a traditional gym setting, you wouldn't lift the same pounds every single time. You'd try to increase. I wasn't increasing the intensity of my suit. So having the data allowed me to make changes to get more positive results on the next scan.
That's awesome.
How are you determining your protein goal?
It's my new goal weight times 0.8. So that puts me. I'm even doing it at 1 now. So my protein goal range is between 165 and 175 per day.
So I'm wondering, if you calculated based on the weight of your muscle mass.
No, that would put me back where I started, because I have 124 pounds of muscle on me, and I was doing 120 pounds of 120 grams of protein per day. So I went from 120 grams of protein per day to 165 to 175 grams of protein per day with creatine and with water intake being my primary focus.
Gotcha.
Does creatine have protein in it?
No. So creatine is one of the most studied supplements. If you have healthy kidney function, creatine might be a great thing to add. There's more studies on creatine than just about any other supplement on the market. And if there's one supplement for muscle building, maintaining, it would be creatine. And I do 5 grams a day, but it will make you have an initial weight gain the very first time that you take it, because it's going to give you that elasticity in your structural muscles. So you're going to have a little bit of a gain of weight in the very beginning, but it's not real weight. It's to support your muscles. Jay, you just started taking creatine, didn't you?
I'm drinking my first creatine right now.
You just pop your creatine cherry?
Right now.
Look at all this stuff we're doing, you guys.
Just right now.
Look at them.
Just as a reminder about the scale going up, so mentally I can.
No, keep them. Yeah, you're not loading, right? You're just doing 5 grams.
Yeah, just 5. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not going to be terrible.
Okay.
But be prepared. It's a little bit. It's like having a really salty meal, the equivalent to that. You went out and had I don't know, sushi or kimchi or something.
You know what's great is because before the scan, I would have not added creatine because I wasn't thinking about muscle. I wasn't. I was thinking probably shouldn't lose muscle, but I wasn't thinking about tracking muscle loss. I wasn't thinking about, where the weight came from. I was just thinking lose the pounds wherever they come from. That's where they come from.
Yeah.
But now it's like, okay, let me do this while maintaining muscle at least. That's what I want to do. Is at least maintain. Gaining would be fun, but maintaining is ideal.
So you're saying you're focusing on quality of your weight loss?
And then the quantity will fall into place.
Yeah.
I'm not concerned about it.
Yeah. I have so much less pressure every single, because I hop on the scale every single day as just a matrix. Maybe my sodium levels, if I'm having too much like electrolytes or whatever, I use it for that. That I no longer, like, for the first time in my entire life, I don't care what the scale says because I know I'm putting in the work.
That's
All
amazing.
Yeah.
We should probably wrap up, but I'm curious before we go. When is everybody's next scan, right? And what are you hoping to discover on your next scan?
I don't know when my next scan is because it'll be when I get back to Dallas, which I plan to for some other reasons. And then I will make sure I fit that in on my next trip. I used to work out there and I lived out there for a while. So hopefully I would hope to get back out there before the end of the year for another one. And I hope to have made some progress in losing body fat and at a minimum maintaining muscle mass. A huge win would be gaining, but at least maintaining, because I'm still in the very, very active throes of WL and I still have a ways to go. If I'm going to be 172-ish, I have like 60-ish more pounds to go. And then Jay, I want a calculation when we kind of wrap all this up at a BMI of 25, please.
Okay. I can do that for you.
I think for me, it's just going to be weight loss overall and maintaining as much muscle as possible. Not too worried about gaining. And honestly, like, I don't even know if I'm too worried about losing muscle mass because I think if I do, it's going to be like very minute, like extremely minute, just because I have, like I said, almost, let me think in my head, I still have to lose, 150 pounds or something like that. You know what I mean? So no, 170 still. So I'm still, going through my journey. So I think I'm going to focus more on the muscle loss when I get closer to my goal weight. Because what if my body decides to start eating the muscle as opposed to eating all the fat?
Well, that's where your protein is so important, because it will eat your muscle if it doesn't have, because there's 9 essential amino acids that your fat doesn't have. And
Right.
so if you don't have the muscles, the protein available in your body to pull from, it will pull from your muscles. So that's where your protein intake is just so absolutely crucial.
Right. Yeah. And I'm going to do it, definitely doing one when I come to Austin in October, at the end of October.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
That's kind of my plan. And then, if I get curious, I found a place locally that's about $200 for a scan, which in the big scheme of things, if I really, really want to know, it would cost that much in gas for me to get to Dallas. You know what I mean? So I'll just bite the bullet and do it locally for, double the price or a little over double
the price. It's almost like 10 times.
So that's where I'm at.
I respect that. I really appreciate that everybody has this perspective of doing what's right for their journey with the new data that they have. Like before, the way a lot of us approach this journey is a one size fits all approach of get the scale down, right? And that we all agree that's our goal, get the scale down. But it sounds like that's no longer just the goal for any of us.
Mm-mm.
Isn't that pretty powerful though? I don't know however long you've been on some kind of journey of some kind. The only thing that I've cared about my entire life, I'll speak for myself, the only thing I've ever cared about in my life was getting that number on the scale down. It wasn't until I started doing this in April that I actually cared about the quality, not just the quantity of the weight loss.
Yeah, I agree.
So true. That is correct.
I'm getting my next scan in 2 weeks. So I changed it because it was going to be like at the 11-day mark, and I don't think that was enough time to run the experiment. So I'm going to do it on the 28th, Sunday, the 28th of July.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right, I'm just gonna call up Body
that
Spec.
number.
I'm gonna call up Body Spec and say, get a truck over here in Louisiana.
Kayla's going to steal one and bring it back to Louisiana.
Yeah, I'm like, bring a truck. I'll run the truck. I'll do the scans. I'll make it my full time if it means people can get this. I wish I knew that there were tons of people in Louisiana that needed it. You know.
Well, they are. There is a definite expansion plan to other cities. Maybe that could be your calling, because maybe that's you come to Louisiana and
Right.
you think I will be your first driver. Wouldn't that be neat to do scans all day long?
Through court reporting.
I like that. Jay, when is your next scan, sir?
My next scan is scheduled for September 24th.
Okay. Put that down.
Yes, September 24th. So it'll be 3 months and 1 day from my last one. It's a Friday, I believe.
Okay, so let's J. So, Jay, going into your next scan, well, first of all, from when you got your other scan, have you changed any of your exercise or body movement activities?
Oh, yeah. I definitely have. So, since my last scan, things that have happened, I have increased my strength training to more days out of the week. I was doing like 2, and now it's like 3 to 4 days of the week. I've started actually strength training my legs. That was something I was not doing at all. I was like, oh, they're thick enough. They're carrying all this weight. That's fine. My calves look great. But no, I've thrown in legs because those are my largest muscles at this point. And I'm like, if I'm going to do gains, that will probably be the easiest way to do it, right? And I can target some fat that's on the hippie area by adding some more muscle there too. So I'm like, okay, we're doing that. And then I'm changing up my supplement game.
What are you adding, sir?
Just some creatine, because we're focused on this muscle mass, because we're trying not to lose any, or we're trying to lose as little as possible. And in the dream world, we're trying to gain muscle.
Right.
That's what we're doing. But yeah, it's shifted the game. Has my scale moved down? No, but I don't give a crap because I know the scan's going to show something different in a few months. And that's when the rubber meets the road. It's like, what does that scan say? Like anything that happens on the scale in between is a bonus and just fun, but that can't be the focus. It has to definitely be, okay, what will the scan show?
That's fair. What are you going to do, Jay, if your muscle mass is decreased? Have you given yourself an allowed amount, a percentage of muscle loss?
First of all, I will cry. We'll start there. I'll just sit in my tears for a moment. No,
I trust. I do feel that.
No, the first thing I would do is I would recalculate my goal weight for the muscle mass and see where that puts me. If it's more extreme or far lower than my current goal, then I'm going to have to realign my plan to definitely pause things to try to build more muscle, because that's what I would want to do. Because I'm willing to drop maybe 5 pounds of muscle max at this point, 5 pounds. And if I drop 5 pounds of muscle in 3 months after adding strength training, after upping protein, after adding supplements, then I've failed at something, and I need to pause and reevaluate.
Well, let me just plant this seed now, and then we'll rehash that on September 24th, maybe 25th if it doesn't go well for you, sir. But the national average is you're doing strength training, okay, 3 to 4 times a week. How long are you going for?
Minimum 30 to 45 minutes.
Okay. You used to carry your old body weight around all day long, not 30 to 40 minutes, a few days a week. So have you allowed yourself if I maintain this much loss or gain, then I can still consider myself to have won? Like a 5% muscle loss over fat ratio. Like, so if I lost 10 pounds and 1.5 pounds of that was muscle, like I'll still consider it a victory. Or you could still consider it a victory.
I have not done the math of percentages, and I should do the percentage math to see what I would be comfortable with percentage-wise in relative terms to losses. Because my scale has not moved in approximately 2 months, and me doing things like up and strength training is not helping it, I haven't even really processed what it looks like to have major losses in this process, and how much muscle is possible to lose in that process. So I haven't even started processing that bit of it, just because nothing's moving on the scale. But like, I think my inches are inching and my body's recomping a little bit, and so I think that's where the positive is. So like, I still have to run some numbers, I guess. And thanks for giving me more numbers to run, because I love doing that.
Yeah, I give you a gift right now, sir.
Shannon, by the way, if you want to get to that BMI of 25, just to let you know, we will be looking at 30.9% body fat.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I'm going to double check the number, Shannon. I was talking and doing it, but I'm going to double check it and get back to you. But I think that's right. I'll double check. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Also, I am really excited about the photo, being able to put those side by side throughout the scans. That's going to be really cool.
It really is the ultimate before photo.
No.
Yourself pancaked out on a hard, flat surface.
My legs look like they're going to like bend this way or something. Like, it's crazy, like I was like, oh my gosh,
That photo has no good angle.
Right.
I want to say as little purple as possible in that photo, because that purple is never in a good spot. That purple, woo.
Yeah, I said it in that video that I made. I'm not apple shaped. I'm not pear shaped. I am shaped like a drumstick. Because that's like, if you put a drumstick right over my body, that is exactly what I look like. Oh, goodness gracious. Well, I think that does anybody have any other questions, comments, concerns, final thoughts, everybody? Let's do a final thought round.
One of the best things I did to invest in my health and get better information about my body, because I could have ended up very fat, skinny fat, whatever it is. So very good decision. I'm excited to see the changes I will make and the decisions I'll make as a result.
I love that.
Yeah. And I just
Double
want to
check the
encourage everyone who's watched. Oh, sorry, Jay.
I'm sorry. Just double check numbers one more time. Okay, so Shannon was right. It was 30.9% at 159 pounds. Sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry. Sorry, Caitlin.
Good numbers, data. I love it.
And just, you will not regret if you figure out how to make it work to get these. So definitely encouraging. It was encouraging for me. So
Yeah, and again, the cities for this is Body Spec is not the only company that offers it. It's just the cheapest national, like not Western national company I could find. There is a couple other ones. They're just not as cost affordable. I'm looking though. But if you're available, if you live in Seattle, Tacoma, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Dallas, or Texas, they are $29 for the first scan and $39 a month for every other scan. You can do it quarterly. You can make a one-time purchase. You can buy a scan as a gift and gift it to somebody. But I really, truly believe, even for myself, if I had to pay, if I knew it was going to have the impact it would have on my life, I would come up with I think around here they're like $100 to $150. I would pay that money to have that data because it's dramatically changed the way that I approach this journey for myself in a positive way.
And for me, I went with a 3-month plan where I'm going to get scans every 3 months because I like the data because it's 1 month of data. One data point has changed my journey completely, right? And then that second data point is going to let me know if my new path makes sense for me and what changes I institute or if they're effective or not. And so getting scans on a regular basis for me is going to be a goal. So I'm with Candace, even if I didn't have access to Body Spec, $600 a year is worth it for me at this point because it's the peace of mind that I did not have before. It's a peace of mind.
And the months that you save because you know where your caloric expenditure is. Knowing your actual what the amount of calories you can afford to lose or have every day will change over the course of a year as we saw adds up on every single one of us. Yours was off by 14 pounds. Kayla's was off by, is that right, Jay? 14? Was it 14.1? Your metabolic rate? 14.1. Yeah. Kayla's is 73. And then Chin, I didn't ever calculate for your new numbers at 52, but mine were off by about 11 pounds per year. So just having that just changes it. So I really believe that everybody should get one.
As early as you can in your journey. Because I think all of us can agree that if we had gotten this information earlier, we would have approached things a little bit differently. Is that accurate to say?
For sure.
Yeah. But thank you so much for taking the time out of your beautiful weekend to come and talk about and geek out on numbers with us and share your stories and your insight and your scans. And the more data that we have, Jay and I running this little project, the more data that we have, the more people that we're ultimately going to be able to help and have expectations, especially when we get into your second scan. Those are going to be super exciting numbers. Just because I don't really feel like there's anybody else that has these type of data points in our community and are using the quality of weight loss and seeing what's possible and failures and successes on this. I really think that we're going to pave the way in helping people with this in a way that it hasn't been brought to the table yet. So thank you.
We'll be able to help more people just figure out new paths and different paths, right? Because this journey is not one size fits all for any of us, right? And if people are charging different things, we're going to learn new information because I love this community for not being gatekeepers. If one person knows something, we all know it, right? So we're going to figure out ways to maintain and gain muscle. We're going to figure out ways to burn fat. We're going to figure out all the things together. And
Yeah.
and thank y'all for helping everybody do that. Like, y'all rock.
No, I'm so glad y'all did the first one because I would have never even known, and I'd have been in Dallas. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Exactly.
So-
I think this will help if we start talking about it more, help other people refocus their journey. Because I think most people are very obsessed with the number on the floor. And if we can frame the conversation a little bit differently as well, I think we'll give some people some things to think about, because it is not just the number on the floor. Because Candace, I don't know how old you are, but like I'm 54. So what if I was just focused on the number on the floor, didn't have this information, and got to goal in another year or whatever, and I'm getting older, and I don't know how much, I've lost muscle along the way or whatever. That is not helpful for my overall health. I think I'm getting healthy by losing this weight, but I'm really not. I'm doing myself a little bit of a disservice. So,
because as the older we get, the easier it is it's easier to keep it than to regain it again. The older you get, the sarcopenia becomes more and more of a conversation just in medical visits, because the less muscle volume that you have, the more increased chance you have for hip fractures, or your hip flexors aren't working as they should properly. So just for your overall, because we're all doing this thing because we want to be in a smaller body. Well, I am. I wanted just to be smaller. I didn't care how. And now that I'm getting there, and now my focus is kind of changing as to like, okay, at the end of this, what if I just want to be skinny, or do I want to be healthy? And like muscles is a huge part of the healthy conversation. And now, again, for the first time ever, I care about the health part of it too. Because before I would drive up to surgery and go everything liposuction if it was relatively easy to do. I didn't care how it got out. I just wanted it out. And now I'm looking at those density things. The older I get, the visceral fat numbers, that's data I never would have had. And that directly impacts your health. So I care about those numbers. Those are numbers I didn't know to care about because I never had the numbers in front of me.
absolutely.
And think about the fact of, I'm sorry, I know we're probably running a little over, but just it makes me think about the fact that for so long on this journey, and for so many people in the community, the goal is to get to a specific number on one specific device as fast as possible, right? That's the goal. And for me, that can't be the goal anymore, to get to it as fast as possible. As fast as possible isn't even realistic, right? Like, if I want to do this healthily, if I want to maintain the muscle or gain the muscle, if I want to do certain things along the way to get rid of the fat to a certain level, like, it's going to take more time, right? It's going to be, I need to be realistic with myself. Like, this may not be a 1-year endeavor, a 2-year endeavor. Because I'm rebuilding my body from the inside out. Like, why is the expectation to do that as quickly as possible when that may not be the healthy way to do it? So, like, I think other people, once they start getting scans, will come to that realization that this is truly a journey. This cannot be a sprint, not to do this healthily.
Right. Yeah. I'm finally with you on that, because that slow and sustainable weight loss thing drove me insane. Cool for other people, wasn't okay for me. And like, I just didn't want to do it. I just, but this time, after 2 weeks, I'd only lost like 4 pounds of fat. And I didn't, normally I would not be happy with that. And I personally would not be happy with that number for myself, given everything I put into this. But this time I was okay with it, because my muscle loss was less than 10%, which of the total weight loss, which is a huge victory. Like it's amazing. Going from somebody who couldn't do anything in the gym before, couldn't even get off the floor before, and now can lift myself completely off the floor without even touching my hands, and like from butt to standing up, completely fine.
Dang.
So there's huge like things that will pay me dividends for the rest of my life. And it's all about muscle and visceral fat now. So I'm really happy. So that, anything else? Any final thoughts? G, give us something motivational as a closer. Come on.
Okay,
Please.
so this is all. This is all I
one.
have. Oh, okay. Kayla has something motivational. Go for it,
With
Kayla.
great power comes great responsibility. No,
That's
literally,
very
because it is a
exciting.
very powerful thing for us to have here.
Oh, okay.
And
I
now
see what
we're
you mean.
responsible to take the right steps in our journey to use this power in the right way, for sure.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And I guess I'll piggyback on what Kayla said because responsibility, we need to talk about this real quick. We are responsible for our journey, and we are responsible for our perspective on these journeys. And so, do what we can. We should all be doing what we can to gain a healthy perspective on what this journey looks like. That means not just focusing on a singular number or a singular issue. It should honestly not just be lip service, but it should be focused on our health. So focus on your health and get the perspective that you need to do things responsibly. So that's all I'll say to wrap up my piece.
I love it. Well, again, thank you. So I think we'll wrap up. Thank you so much for everyone for coming to this with Jay and I. And thank you so much, Kayla and Shannon, for coming and spending time with us and being so willing to share your numbers, your story. And hopefully people watching will have either want to get one, have gotten one, know what to do with the data, get encouraged to get on a train if they have to, Amtrak it to a DEXA Scan Center. It's probably cheaper than flying. You get to see this beautiful country of ours. But thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Your story is going to help other people for sure.
Thank you.
guys for having me.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Bye.